Hey guys, welcome back to another week of e-commerce marketing chats. We've got a special guest with us today, Paul from Johnni.ai, which is basically a software that Charles and I have both seen now. Paul's been able to share some kind of use cases with us and how it works and um, kind of the features, the benefits, and to be honest, I was pretty gobsmacked with it actually. We'll touch on that a bit more, and Paul's background, but yeah, it's good to be back this week.
Stuff.
Paul, I know you've had a bit of a background in e-commerce before you even
Yeah,
got into the AI space. So, I mean, I remember years ago when we were chatting, I think you had about 30 e-com stores on the go or
yeah,
something. So, you're definitely no stranger to the e-com space. Do you just want to kind of give us a bit of, I guess, background more specifically from the e-com side of things, and then give us a little bit of an intro into Johnny AI, what it can do, and if you were running your e-com stores that you were running back then, how would Johnny AI
um,
have helped you today?
yeah, 100%. So, I've been doing websites and marketing since like 2010, so 15 odd years, and ran an agency for a while, built up a pretty big client base, and we're doing really well. Had a big office in the city, everything was going great. And then from there, we transitioned into e-commerce sites. I like to say the early days before it was as flooded as it is now, type so to speak. Yeah, had massive success. Launched a few; they were going really well, and yeah, we actually got up to about 60 at one time. So I built a team around in the Philippines that were managing all the orders, logistics, tracking. What else? They were handling orders, customer inquiries, everything. So they were, and I automated the whole system. So I had people running, like setting them up, finding the products, sourcing the products, advertising. It was all systemized. And it was going really, really well. And yeah, at that, I mean, to transition into Johnny AI, what I'm doing now, at that time, Brody was actually working for me. So he worked for me in the old days. And once I closed the agency and I was sort of ramping down my shops as I was doing other bits and pieces, Brody was studying the AI space for the last couple of years. And he was always like bringing me different bits and pieces, like we can do this, we can do this, we can do this, and nothing really gelled. And I was just like, oh, cool, you can make a fancy image. Wow.
For those that aren't aware, Brody is Paul's business partner in Johnny AI. So yeah, they're kind of working together in that regard. So yeah, if you aren't aware of Brody, it's Paul's business partner in this particular project.
Yeah, yeah, I was going to get to that. But yeah, one day, just recently, he came to me and said, I've been building these AI receptionists. Have a listen to this. So he shows me. I'm like, bro, this is amazing. We should definitely do a business with this. So we got together and yeah, we've been running that since. So for the last 4 months now, 5 months now. Yeah.
I think your reaction was probably similar to mine and Charles's, because I remember when we both talked about it, it's like, and I was kind of at the point where I had a client ringing me and they said to me, Jimmy, like we need to get a 1300 number. My mobile number just won't stop ringing. And it kind of clicked to me. I was like, wow, actually, I'd just seen this AI software that can basically handle calls, and majority of their e-commerce calls is where's my order? It says it's been delivered, it hasn't been delivered, like pretty stock standard questions. So it wouldn't be out of the realm to kind of introduce some AI to handle that. But yeah, Charles, what was your kind of initial reactions when you heard kind of some of the samples? And we will post some links to some of the samples in the show notes as well if you guys are keen to hear them too.
Yeah, Jimmy, I was very impressed. And I was honest with Paul as well. Like, yeah, I'd like to say we're friends, Paul, aren't we? As well as Jimmy. So, I think we give you honest critique. But when I first heard it, I was like, I think the first initial reaction was just how natural it was, because you think of AI as being very robotic. I was like, how good is this really? And then when you sent me the examples, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And your mind starts racing of the opportunities here and the different use cases for ecom, for multiple different industries. So yeah, that was my initial reaction, was just how damn good it was.
I think it's a big thing. Like people aren't at a stage yet where they realize how good it is,
Yeah, yeah,
you know, and
You
how
know,
smart it is.
the other massive upside I see for it, Paul, is so many businesses, especially I know you're working with some service businesses on this software as well, but even ecom, so many businesses have call hours from 9 till 5. This basically gets rid of that. You can have a call center operating 24 hours a day, which is where I saw kind of the massive advantage of it, especially service based. And like ecom, I don't think it's going to be make or break if someone doesn't know where their order is at like 11 p.m. at night. But like if someone wants to ring you at 11 p.m. at night to book in like a window cleaning job, and from some of the examples that I've heard at 11 o'clock at night, and they can schedule that in, that's like revenue for that business. Um, which is, insane that you can have this system that will just handle all your calls any time of the day or night. It doesn't restrict you to business hours, which currently a lot of the service-based businesses are. I know when we were like upgrading our hot water system, trying to ring through, and it's like, oh, ring us back between 9 to 5. And it's just like, oh, but like if they had something like this in place, it would drastically improve the user experience. The other thing is, you'll ring these places and you might hear from them like 3 days later. Like by that stage, I've already found someone else. Like if you're calling me back 3 days later, it's too late.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, depending on your industry, these calls are costing you money because you're only going to call so many, and whoever answers the phone, at least they got a shot at your business. A lot of these guys are
Agreed.
missing completely. And then emails and that, they don't get back to you straight away.
Talk to me a little bit more about like what are the use cases for e-commerce? Like I know, like I kind of just touched on, especially the delivery side, but do you see it being able to give, like if someone rings up and say what product is suitable for me, could it go kind of through your stock list and say, based on everything that you've mentioned, we recommend this product and this is why? Like, can it get to that level yet?
Yeah, it can. So we build it, you got to think of it like a brain for your business. So we're giving it the knowledge base and the workflows that it needs to determine how to treat that particular client and what the end goal needs to be, whether it's in the service case to book a service or to recommend the right product. So it will know the questions to ask and it will communicate with the person to pull out that information. In regards to ecom, I think the biggest thing is first of all handling all the inquiries, whether it's where's my order, what's the tracking number, when is it being shipped out, when is it getting delivered, all those type of inquiries. Tracking, so it can actually hook in to the back end of the site, read where you've put in, your tracking number, tell the customer that. It can even SMS and email those details to the customer automatically. You can provide 24/7 support. You can have upsells, even customer abandonment. If someone's on the cart and they're not sure, you could have Johnny, for example, call that person and offer them a discount if they want to check out now and then send the link to the cart, as an example.
Yeah, there's
Pretty
some
cool, isn't
great
it?
examples of use cases in terms of like from the privacy side, Paul. So if someone rings up, what measures are in place to know that it's that actual client that's calling? So, for example, say I rang up and I want a tracking number for my order, but is there a second step in place? Like, do they have to confirm their email that's on the order just so not anyone can just ring up and say, like, they might have an order number and they're like, oh, I wonder where the order above me is going. So they just give a number that's one off. Is there a second layer that they have to confirm, like the email address associated with the order, just so like you're not handing out tracking information for potential orders that's not the person that's calling, if that makes sense?
That's a very good question. I guess there's two ways you can handle it. One is when someone calls the ecom store, if their number's already in the database, it'll be able to determine who that is. And it can even talk to them by name, like, hi, Jimmy, thanks for calling XYZ store. I guess the second thing is that's something that would have to set up for the business. So whether someone calls and wants a tracking number, we will have a security measure in there, whether they want to confirm email address, phone number, name, whatever it is. So that can all be set up in the back end to make sure that that stuff doesn't happen. And just
Paul,
in terms of data security as well, we're using all the latest fully compliant platforms, and they all have their PCI compliance, all their different EU regulations, privacy laws, all the platforms we're using to create Johnny, it's all using state of the art encryption and security.
interesting. Paul, one question I was going to ask you was, say you call up Johnny, and for whatever reason, Johnny's not able to help you with your inquiry. What strategy do you kind of put in place so that if Johnny can't answer that question for that they're guided through potentially to, some an actual human at that e-commerce store? What can be done there to, or are you seeing with kind of different industries you're working with? What's the route that they can take there?
Yeah.
Because the
So
worry is that obviously if they're not able to answer, Johnny's not able to answer it, Johnni.ai, that you've potentially lost that, you could lose that lead or business
yeah, yeah.
or sale.
So just to back up 1 second, because it will lead into what you just asked me. What separates us from a lot of competitors, even though there's not that many in the space at the moment, what we've noticed is a lot of people are just sort of having one AI and they're trying to plug everybody into it. It's very cookie cutter. What we're doing, which is a big differentiator, is we're looking at the business's systems and trying to integrate and automate within their existing systems.
Nice.
So what was the question again?
No,
I
it
was,
was
I was leading
basically,
to it, but I just had a mental blank.
no, it's good. No, it's basically saying, for example, say you called up and, Johnny AI wasn't
Oh,
able
that's
to
right. Yeah, yeah,
answer
yeah,
the customer's question. What would be the step that you would take to kind of navigate the customer to the right direction?
yeah. So if the customer's using a particular CRM or a particular software where they're managing all their leads or their data, etc., then it can leave messages for them. It can schedule callbacks in calendars for the right person to call them back, or it can transfer to a customer service person straight away if it can't answer that particular question. So to answer that in the short way, it depends on your systems that you're using in your store and how we integrate with that and how Johnny can talk in between all the systems and then finding the right mix of how it works best for the ecom store. So if Johnny's not able to answer a question, if they prefer it just to transfer to a certain number, we can do that. If it wants to schedule with somebody's calendar to call them back, it can do that. So it just depends how they would like that to operate. Yeah, yeah. To give an example as well, like in one of our service businesses, so he didn't want to give up the phone entirely, but what he realized was that when he's on the tools, he's missing the calls. So when he's free, he's happy to answer the phone, but when he's busy, he knows that Johnny can handle it. So how do we solve that problem? When someone calls up, if it rings more than 5 times, it automatically diverts to Johnny, so he never misses it.
Nice.
As an
Yeah,
example, yeah.
that's a good approach.
Or with that, so like if an e-commerce business wanted to like sign up, like what kind of investment are they looking at to kind of get started? I know it'll probably a bit of a scale depending on what
Yeah,
complexities they need, but like what would kind of be like the range? Just so one, so you're not getting people reaching out to you that aren't a good fit, but also so people kind of know what to potentially expect if they do want to work with someone like yourself and the Johnny AI team.
yeah. It depends on the complexity of the job. So we like to get an understanding of what they want to create, how they want it to handle everything. And then it also depends on how many workflows and the knowledges that we got to create for Johnny to handle everything perfectly. So you got to think of it like it's your front of your business, whether they're chatting to it live on the website or they physically call, it needs to be as good, if not better, than humans. So on the lower end for more simple tasks, it's around the $2,500 AUD mark, and then I would guess depending on the complexity, it'll scale up there.
Is that set up, or is that kind of a monthly
That's set up.
retainer that you have with
That's
the
set up.
clients?
In regards to the monthly return, it depends on the amount of calls or inquiries the person's having. Yeah,
Okay, well that's good to know. So like a base level, and then obviously if you know, like if a business owner is ringing you and they know they have a lot more complex systems or questions that want answered rather than the standard, then there's obviously going to be a scale. And then on the kind of monthly side, if you are looking to invest in something like this, it's going to come down to, how active is your actual call line. So yeah, I think that's good for people to realize. I think if you're just starting out in e-commerce, you're probably not going to be getting like a whole lot of calls anyway. I think this is kind of the client that I was telling you about, Paul. They're encroaching like the 100K a month mark, and they're at the point now where they're sick of their phone ringing. So I think businesses in that realm, kind of 50K a month plus, if your phone is ringing a lot, it's probably definitely worth exploring these options and to find out whether you can take the call handling off. I think one of the biggest concerns for any business, not just e-commerce, would be is it going to uphold the user experience? And more importantly, for a lot of e-commerce businesses, a lot of businesses get reviewed like specifically after kind of customer service. So I think that would be a hesitation for people like, hey, if I do attempt to offload this and if it's not at the certain level where I need it to be, is it going to affect my like company reviews? But then I'm just thinking you could probably use you could probably use the AI to bring up and discuss their reviews. Or, hey, is there anything we can do to make this better? We're sorry about your experience.
One thing, Paul, I wanted to ask you as well. I was curious. Have you been experimenting with different accents and languages? Like, because obviously, for example, ringing up and getting a tradie might be different to, a lawyer or an accountant, the way that they speak, languages, dialect. Yeah, I'm curious to see what you've been doing there, or are you focusing on just one kind of standardized
so
voice?
Johnny, the character, like we like to call, that's just him. Like that voice, and he's so friendly, easygoing, and laughs at your jokes, and is quite funny and fun. That's just him as Johnny. But we do have access to 40 plus voices in the back end of equal and higher quality, women, men, young, old. And we go through that with our clients as we're going, whether they like a friendly person or a bit more serious or what have you. We've got those options there available. We can even clone somebody's voice if they really want to.
Yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
interesting to see you doing it in different languages as well at some point as you go global, maybe.
We've got access to all the languages. And just on that, one of our clients sent us a call the other day, and it was somebody with a really like thick accent. And we were listening to it, and the client sent it to us because he listened to it and couldn't understand what the person was talking about. But Johnny actually handled it better than we would. He was able to pick up what they were saying and answer perfectly. It was so good.
It's incredible.
So there
It's
you go.
incredible.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the like more advanced things, Paul, but like can the AI kind of differentiate accents when they're talking to someone and then like switch to that accent, if that makes sense?
Now, as soon as we set it for the business, that's what we use.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not able to do that. It might come in the future. This technology is advancing so fast.
Yeah, and I think people have got to be aware of that too. Like it's so new as well. And even though Paul has kind of mentioned pricing on this call right now, like 3 months from now it might be completely different because you might need a whole range of, additional overheads to supply the service. So yeah, take take everything that you've heard today as kind of a grain of salt, and it's very much in the testing phase, and and Paul's seen some amazing results with it early. So we wanted to bring it to you guys because we understand kind of almost the importance of being first movers in the space. I actually I actually had a call. It was about 2 weeks ago, but I purchased a book a while ago, and it was probably 2 years ago, but I could tell it was AI, but they left a voicemail. I didn't pick up. But they had cloned the owner's voice, and I think Paul had just mentioned that they're able to clone that too. So if you want to do a reach out like that and thank your customers, probably a large majority of them aren't going to reach out, but you can leave a voicemail potentially to all those existing clients. And what happened for me was I was thinking about that brand all week because I was like, they couldn't possibly have personally reached out to me, and I know this person didn't. But it was still it had me thinking about it all week. So yeah, it's almost could basically replace email for like a follow-up sequence for users that aren't engaged within like the last 6 months. You could give them a phone call. Like it can be added to kind of that suite of things to yeah, increase your
I
It's
say as
crazy.
well, like how you're saying the technology is changing so fast. So even in the last 5 months since we've been live and working, we've had major upgrades. So to give an example, in the early days, when people were calling up and they had, like they're on the phone and they had, whether it was kids in the background or the radio on or the TV on, and there was different noises going on, Johnny was getting confused on who to focus on and was stopping and couldn't work out what's happening. So I put it to Brody. I said, we need to solve this because it's not going to be people in a silent room calling all the time. And within couple of weeks, we had it solved. So we built a technology now that recognizes the person's voice when they start talking, and it is able to focus on that person and not get interrupted by any background noises. So that's been a game changer. And then the other thing is like emotional trigger technology, which we built in the back end. So now if somebody's talking to the AI and they start getting emotional, like angry or they're not happy with it or whatnot, Johnny can actually tell them, look, we realize, you know, we're not offering you the best service or you're getting upset or whatever. And we can transfer to a human or we can transfer to XYZ. So it's able to determine if someone's not having a great experience with the technology, which is really good. Yeah.
That's super. That's I didn't know it could do that. That's super helpful because you're right. You can imagine if someone's annoyed on the other side of the phone and they're just getting the same monotonous response back. It would just get them more agitated. So, yeah, that's incredible how it's able to kind of establish emotions and respond accordingly.
As we're
reminds
getting
me of
more and more data
oh, sorry.
through, oh, sorry, Jimmy. I was
I
going to
was
say,
just
as
about
we're
to
getting
say,
more and
you go.
go on. Just saying, as we're getting more and more data through and more use cases, we're building more and more stuff in the background to help our customers. That's, yeah, so that's really cool.
I was just about to bring up something a little bit sidetracked, but for when you ring a company, for example, in Australia or whatever, and you're on hold, so say it's a bank or something like that, you're on hold for all this time. I heard somewhere that if you're mad, they move you up the queue. So as soon as I used to ring, I'd pick up the phone, and if I was on hold, I'd just start swearing and swearing, and then to see if it actually sped it up a little bit. I don't have definitive stats, but I thought it was worth a try. But if these, yeah, I mean, if these businesses could definitely use something like the AI call center to basically take off that wait time load. So I don't think like maybe not for banks with that kind of sensitive information, but other companies that do have long wait times, especially like I tried to call my son's swim school the other day just to tell him that they wouldn't be in. And I know they've only got one person in there, so if they're having a bathroom break or they have to go do something else, you can try to ring like 5 times and you just never hear back until they're actually sitting in that chair next to the phone. But something like the AI, I just needed to ring to say, "Hey, my kid's unwell. He won't be at swimming class tomorrow." Something like AI could handle that so simply
Exactly.
In
without me
terms,
having to be on hold and swearing my ass off.
Paul, I was going to say, once Johnny's had that conversation with the other person on the other end of the phone, what's the next step in terms of the customer journey? Like, what are you integrating the it in with, like in terms of technology? Like, is it the information put into a database? Do you have the recording that then sent to the business owner? what's kind of what's kind of the process there, and what are you kind of setting up in the back end in terms of maybe CRM or any
Yep.
other tools to kind of
Yep.
communicate things?
So every one of our clients gets one of our dashboards, and in that dashboard, you've got your analytics of the call. So time, reason why, somebody hanged up or didn't go through, or the reason of the call, and it tracks those data. So over time, you get to see in a pie chart like what all the data is, like how many calls are XYZ, how many calls are this, how many calls are that. You get the minutes, you get all the recordings as well. So that's in our dashboard, and you can log in and listen to every single recording. You can download those recordings if you wish. You also get summaries and then the full transcript as well. So that's all in the dashboard. And then what we've done for some people is we've actually hooked it into their CRM, whether they're using, for example, Zoho or other specific ones. It can actually hook in. So when the lead comes through, Johnny places the summary in that card for that person. So whoever's quoting or whoever's going out to the job, they have the full summary of what they talked about.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think it's important to kind of know, like I said, where that data is going, making sure it gets sent through to the business owner. And that's good, really,
E-com
really
as
help.
well. If someone's got an issue and say they're questioning you that they said XYZ and it's not possible that that happened, you can actually listen to the recording and you'll be able to see it all there. Yeah.
With because I know when you ring, like, I'm going to use banks for example because they're the only ones I'm usually on hold with. But before they answer the call, they have a disclaimer that basically it can be recorded for training purposes and something about sensitive information as well. How do do you incorporate that, Paul? And how do you incorporate it and make it feel like native? Is it like before the AI picks up? Is there a disclaimer? Like, how do you
Yeah.
work that in?
Yeah. So as soon as it picks up, it'll say, "Hey Jimmy, thanks for calling. I'm Johnny. Just to let you know this call will be recorded for training purposes or whatnot. Are you okay to proceed?"
And
You
if
can
they
actually
say,
do a test on the
can they
website if you like,
can they
live.
opt
I don't know.
out of the recording? So if they say, I'd prefer if the call wasn't recorded for training purposes, and would it definitely not be recorded on the back end?
I believe so. We haven't had that situation. That's a Brody question. But
I don't think
yes,
it would happen very
I'm sure
often,
it
but
would.
yeah, some people get worried about that security side of things, I
Yeah,
guess, definitely.
yeah, yeah. But there's got to be that option because you can't record if someone says no.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, I can see I'm I'm curious because I'm curious to see like a product, like someone ring up and ask about a specific question. I've heard a lot of the service examples for you. If there is any e-commerce examples available, send them through to Charles and we'll definitely put them in the show notes. But
Yeah,
I
awesome.
think especially I see like an untapped market for like elderly people that don't want to like buy online. Could you, I mean, this deals with kind of sensitive information, like card information again, but could they order over the phone if it came to that?
It is possible. The only thing is we wouldn't be able to take payment over Johnny.
Hmm.
So that would have to be done externally, whether it's through an email that then links to the cart with Stripe or SMS
Okay.
or whatnot.
Yeah, okay. So it wouldn't like you couldn't take card details and then like process it through Shopify or something like that.
Not at this stage, no. It
Yeah,
is
okay.
getting worked on, but it's not at a stage where we would be comfortable using it yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think yeah, I mean there's so many opportunities. Just even
But
some of the
this
questions
could
that Charles
change
have asked.
in a couple of weeks. Like we don't know. It could all launch in a couple of weeks. We're consistently keeping up to date with all the latest additions and things that are happening. So we're recording it now. It could even come out tomorrow. We don't know.
Yeah, it's happening in real time, isn't it? Are you working on? Have you are you currently working on any new features at the moment, Paul, that you could potentially disclose, or yeah, is there any kind of things that you're kind of working on in the back end that you're happy to share at the moment, or
Not yet. Not yet.
yeah, okay,
We've
okay,
got some
keeping
exciting
it
things we're working on, but nothing's ready to share yet, unfortunately.
okay,
But you'll be the first to know, Charles and Jimmy.
good stuff. Well, yeah, like you said, I'm sure there's obviously other providers out there, isn't there? So you obviously don't want to give away too much of the secret sauce just yet.
I mean,
What?
I'll give you one system that we're working on where Johnny can also tap into emails and handle all that as well, but it's not ready for launch yet. So he can
So
handle the phone calls. He could,
it's not a call service, more for it's like can reply via AI to the emails. Is that what it is, Paul?
yeah,
Yeah.
using all its knowledge base. The other thing is we've also launched the widgets on the site. So if someone doesn't want to call up, they can actually have a voice chat with Johnny through the website too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah, it's a nice little feature just to see the quality of it. And what, Paul, what are you seeing in terms of like your competitors? Like, I know obviously there's other people in the space. What kind of do you feel differentiates you guys versus the other providers that are popping up?
100%. I love this question. So the main thing that we do differently from what I've seen, I don't know, there might be other people trying to do what we're doing, but this is from what I've seen. We're taking the time to understand the business and their systems, and we're building something custom for them. We're not trying to integrate one standard AI and try and plug everybody into it. We're customizing it and making sure it's perfect for that person and that business so that it handles everything flawlessly. It is a bit more time consuming. We can't just implement an AI system tomorrow for you. It does take, 3, 4, 5 weeks, even with the testing as well. But you get such a better result. So and the ongoing support as Johnny's so he's gone from getting built to then being tested, implemented, and then the ongoing support. So as we're getting real life feedback, we're able to adapt and edit Johnny in real time to make sure he doesn't make those mistakes again, or handles this a bit better, or does this a bit better. And that's what we're finding is like differentiating us. And yeah, like clients are loving it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to have that customization, isn't it? Rather than just a, out of the box solution, which may work, but you're not going to see the same level of results. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So, do you want to know the story of the name?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, give us the
Let's hear
So,
it.
Johnny background. How was
Yeah.
Johnny born? How was
how
Johnny
was
Boy
Johnny?
born? Here's Johnny.
That's it. That was part of it. That was actually part of it. So, I was sitting around with Brody, and I was actually singing that song. Here's Johnny.
For the people listening, I did not know that.
And then we were thinking about talking about the names, and Johnny did come up, and then I'm like, Brody, Johnny's a famous name. We got John Connor, you got John Rambo, you got Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat, you got John Matrix, Commando, John Kreese from Karate Kid. I said, how good's this name? He wasn't sold on it, right? Then we were watching a Spanian video together. I don't know if you know Spanian, and the YouTuber, and he goes, Johnny Offerkins. I said, see, even he's using the name. Let's go. So then we searched it up and registered it, and that's how that started.
Yeah, that's awesome. What were some of Brody's suggestions? Did he give you any?
Oh, we had heaps. We had heaps. But Brody's were very technical, I can't remember the names exactly, but it was like
Like,
voice this or AI voice deluxe or whatnot. And we just tried to make it a bit fun.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's just as he just drops out. Yeah, we'll
I
shoot
think
back
so.
on in a minute. Did you have any issues with the domain name? Because I was thinking it's a pretty Johnni.ai. Was there any? Was
Yeah,
that easy to get or?
nah. So originally I searched Johnny with a Y, and someone
Yeah,
had taken that, and it was like 20,000 USD to grab that domain. And then I searched Johnny with IE, and that was again like 20 something thousand to get. And then I just searched it with an I, and it was available.
yeah.
So grabbed it.
Interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating to see you guys develop it. Like I said, I'm particularly interested when you start. You know, Johnny can answer in Chinese or like, Japanese or some random
He can do
language.
it. He can do it.
Uh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to test that, uh, or
We
even
got to ask Brody if someone rings up and they say they prefer to talk in Chinese. can it switch on the fly? That's actually a good question for him.
Yeah, yeah. Can you translate? Yeah, like I don't
Yeah,
speak English. Can you speak? Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure he could figure it out too.
it's wild, isn't it? It's wild
Yeah.
what can be done now. You back, Jimmy?
Yeah, sorry. Mm, the program just kicked me off. It said I don't have any internet connection. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Full reception here. So, yeah, I'm back. And can you guys hear me all good? Sorry about that.
Yeah, all good. No, all
I just
good.
heard the
All
story of
good.
Johnny, and I was like, that's all I need to know. If you
Good
had to
stuff.
kind of list kind of I guess, Paul, the top five things that you could see potential e-commerce businesses using this software for, what would, in your eyes, having seen what it can do, um, how would, like, if an e-commerce business was to come and you're like, yeah, I would recommend using it for this, 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 and this, because this is where I'm seeing the results.
You're putting me on the fly, Johnny. Jimmy?
Johnny, Jimmy. I'll swap out with Johnny in a minute, see if you can tell the
Yeah, yeah.
difference.
He might be better at answering this than me. Uh, Just initially, like I haven't, you just asked me now, but initially I'd think the things we spoke about before. So, like handling all the inquiries, product recommendations, customer support, where's my order, tracking, logistics. Actually, another big one is problems if someone sent out a wrong order or a wrong size, if it's a clothing item, or wrong color. Getting that, getting that information to return, replace, whatnot. That can all be handled. Upsells. So if someone's wanting to buy XYZ, it can see that most customers buy this product with this product. It can offer an upsell. So that could be done. Customer abandonment, having offers that Johnny could offer people that are using it. That's one of the benefits we're finding is because Johnny has a workflow that he sort of follows. When he answers a call and say you ask about a specific thing, humans often forget to upsell, whereas Johnny's been trained to do that. So it happens every time automatically. So we're seeing that as a really good result. Yeah, just trying to think of anything else.
I think there's some great examples, and the reason we recap some of these is, we like, even though this is long form content, a lot of the times we'll clip, well, Charles especially will clip up the main kind of sections for how people can use it. And I think that's a great summary. Like, hey, Johnny AI could be used on an e-commerce store for these things right here. And I think you've just nailed a lot of them, and we've discussed probably a lot of them on this call anyway, but yeah, I think that's a really good summary. And from what I'm hearing from actual clients, it's the shipping and where's my order. It tends to be the biggest one for e-commerce stores. Especially I don't know what the post is like in the where you are, Charles, but Australia Post can be delivering to the state and then you're tracking and it's in like two states over and then coming back and it's like taking 3 weeks to send the parcel like what should have been down the road. So it's understandable sometimes why people are asking, hey, where's my order? But yeah, I mean, this particular client that I'm thinking of, the business owner is like handling all the calls, which is crazy. Like he's in terms of leveraging his time, jumping on, hey, where's my order calls is probably not where you want to maximize most of your time. Sure, he has a really good rapport with his clients through that too, and he probably wouldn't want to get like what you said earlier, Paul, for the client that you do have that didn't want to be off the calls all the time, but why they weren't available, they prefer to have someone there rather than no one answer. I think, yeah, if a business owner is worried about giving it up specifically, I'm sure there's a way where they could say, hey, I'm available between, 3 to 4 p.m., just to kind of get a sample size of what's coming through. During that time, don't direct the calls to AI, send them straight to me.
It can all
Yeah, I
be
think
set up
that
in the background.
And does it, in terms of like, how does getting the actual phone numbers work, Paul? Like, where do they have, can they get them through you, or do they have to get them through a third party if they don't actually have like a 1300 number or something like that to begin with? How does the actual phone number part of it work?
Yeah, so there's different phone number providers. As long as the business can give us, ABN and document the specific documents that they require, you can register as the numbers that you need.
So, do
Yeah,
you have a partner that you guys work with that you recommend for the
yeah.
numbers, or is
At the
it just
moment, we're just recommending Twilio.
Okay.
Paul, in
It's been
terms of
working great.
I was gonna say, Paul, in terms of the you mentioned earlier about the dashboard and the information in that dashboard. Are you at the stage yet where you're providing any specific metrics? I'm trying to think about like
Yeah.
how you gauge the success of quote unquote as a marketer's campaigns. What kind of specific data are you kind of presenting within that dashboard? I know you mentioned about like the call log, the summary, but is there any other specifics like maybe how long the call goes on for?
Yeah, it's got all the analytics and it also tallies up what the call was about and it keeps track of that. So the more calls you're getting, the more you realize what they're about and how long your average call is. I'm just trying to think what else. It's got all the analytics.
What about like success metrics on that, Paul? Like you said it integrated with the CRM. Is it able to, like, from the CRM, if that particular person does become a client, paying client or is paid, is there something that comes back to your system that says, hey, this AI took this call and they ended up becoming like a paying customer? I think because a lot of not just ecom but service businesses would love that too. Hey, of these AI calls that have been taken, like how much revenue have we actually generated from the AI? And it's probably harder to track for some instances rather than others, but um, yeah, do they have the success metrics on the back end?
It's something that we'll have to build out, I guess. Yeah. This is as we're developing too. So success metrics, in regards to specific orders or order value or how many convert into orders, we haven't done that yet, just being completely honest. But yeah, we can definitely build that out. That's a cool feature.
I think it would help the selling point too, like because it's
100%.
you've got the technology, and then I think from a business perspective, it's like, hey, since this person's implemented it, we actually have the initial AI call with the customer, and then we've got tracking to say they ended up becoming a paying customer, and this is how much they spent. And just from having the AI system in place, they've
Brilliant. Yeah.
generated an additional X amount of revenue. Or the big one would be, hey, we know you work 9 to 5. Our customers have generated X amount of revenue outside the hours of 9 to 5 from this AI call system.
With the businesses that we're working with at the moment, we are sort of getting that type of feedback where, for example, one guy, he's out on the road all day, and then from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock, he's on the phones and the calendar and trying to schedule all the missed calls and appointments for the next day, etc. So we worked it out. Like if that's an extra 3 hours a day and he's charging himself at $150 an hour, well, he's missing out on what, $450?
Yeah, so you're handling more of booking in those calls.
And
Because
he's saving the time.
I've had heard one of the samples where it's basically booked in a callback for them to discuss it with, like using Johnny AI, book a callback with the sales team, and it seemed to do it quite seamlessly. So I'm guessing that you guys are using it to book your own kind of consultations for the software, which makes sense if you're building the software and you believe in it, then yeah, it sounds like you're just using it yourselves as well.
Been one of our best features. So when someone lands on the site, it says try Johnny for free, and they put their name and phone number in, and then Johnny calls them straight away, and they're having real life conversations with it. And people are just getting blown away. Like you feel free to try it, if you like.
We will put the link in the show notes, but just so people are aware, can you just spell it out for us too, Paul? Because I know there's probably a few variations on the way Johnny's spelt. So just for the people that are listening that want to just type in directly, just I was about to spell it out, but I don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to let you do it.
And it's just JOHNNI
.ai, right?
.ai.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, if you're keen to find out more and even test the Johnny AI on the call feature, I think myself and Charles were pretty. I was definitely taken away when I heard the use case of someone else actually calling it and asking Johnny AI questions. I was like, far out, this is a lot further down the line than I thought it was going to be. So yeah, if you are curious, definitely jump on the website and give it a free test. And then if you are one of the people listening that are overloaded on your phone, or you do need a sales system outside the hours of 9 to 5, definitely hit up Paul and his team at Johnni.ai and see what the solutions are for you that you can implement to kind of have that system in place. And to be honest, you'd be one of the first movers in the space as well. So, yeah, I know for myself that I've called a few service businesses lately, like, I'm working from 9 to 5, so I'm not calling you. I'm going to get home and then try to sort it out. So if I was able to have something booked in, know exactly when they're calling back, that's the thing too. Like if I know exactly when they're going to call me back, I can just block that off in my day if it's something that I need. But yeah, the systems are great from the tests that I've run, and it's definitely a time saver. And I think if you're relying on a receptionist or a call center, I think definitely by the end of this year, those jobs unfortunately will be replaced by AI.
Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Fortunately, if you're the business owner, unfortunately, if you're the person in the centers, it'll save you a lot of money on, I guess, employing people, but it's also going to make you a lot more money because it works 24/7. It's not the
I guess
AI,
just
the AI doesn't have holidays, and it's not a 9 to 5er.
yeah, yeah. Just
I
gonna
was just
say
about to
that
say.
like it
I
never
was,
has sick days. It never, it doesn't have emotional problems.
no
It's
mental health
designed to
days off
work
you.
perfectly, and every time it achieves that, no matter who it is, and it follows a system that we've built to make sure that it works for the business.
Yeah, I think you need to come over to Malaysia, Paul, because they have a holiday here every other week. It's like the amount of times I've contacted a company, oh, sorry, we're closed for the next 10 days. We'll contact you after. And then you have to follow up again. I mean, like you said, this is that'd be a perfect scenario where Johnny AI could just call me back and deal with my inquiry rather than wait for them to get back into the office. Yeah, there's a lot
Is
of
there
value
any
here.
Is there any things that we haven't asked, Paul, that you think are important for people to know about the software? Obviously, mine and Charles's questions are kind of limited to the knowledge that we have on how it operates and how it works. But yeah, is there anything major that we've missed, or you feel like
Um,
people might want to know about, or people that are calling you up to get the system? Is there more specific reasons that they're wanting it? Yeah, anything that we may have missed or that you want to cover, feel free to let the people know now.
yeah, I'm just thinking off the top of my head. So it's not just about, you're buying your time back, obviously, if you're the one answering the phones. If you've got people that are answering inquiries in your business or in your e-com store, you can save a lot of money on wages. Johnny can handle up to 20 calls at once as well, and it answers them instantly. So there's that. I'm just trying to think. That's the other big thing. As you're getting in early and we're building this brain, so to speak, for your business, at the moment we're just handling calls and inquiries like through the website, voice inquiries through the website. You can chat to it as well if you wish. But as the technology progresses and you're starting to get all this data through from your customers, it's then going to work as we implement new systems and features down the road. Whether that's, well, at the moment we're already doing SMS, we're doing email sending, but eventually you can use that for all your inbound emails. It'll be using that same brain that's already trained up on all this extra data to answer that. And then all that extra data, you can eventually talk to it too. So you'll be able to get new insights into your e-com store or business that you never thought was possible.
Yeah, I'm definitely keen to test it on an e-commerce store. Paul, I know I've kind of flagged with you the client that I'm interested in testing it on, so have another chat to them. But yeah, Charles, is there any other things that you had that you wanted to ask about Johnny AI, or anything else that you wanted to cover?
No, I think we covered a lot in this episode. It's been appreciate you coming on, Paul, and chatting to us about Johnny AI.
You
This
guys,
I think there's
Yeah, you've
yeah, there's a lot
increased
of
my. I need an AI, Paul, that will decrease my workload. You've just given me like 20 different ideas that now I'm going to go explore. So if you increase my workload. So if you could make another AI that once I have all these ideas that will just implement it for me, that'd be great.
I'm getting blown away every day. Like every day I'm talking to Brody. We need to get him on this call one day as well. But
We
he's
can do
telling
another
me,
follow-up call in a couple months, definitely.
stop doing this, stop doing that. I'll show you how to do it with AI. I'll show you how to do this with AI. This is how you talk to your, this is how you talk to AI to do. And I'm just like, it's crazy.
Charles and I are
It's
very big
mad.
on AI discussions. So even if it's, yeah, if there's workflows in AI or anything that Brody wants to discuss and plug Johnni.ai more, we'd be keen to discuss that as well. Well, I definitely would be because it's
Yeah, for
something that
sure.
I'm
For
looking
sure.
into at the moment, and I know Charles has kind of been exploring it a fair bit too. So
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, pleasure to chat, guys.
thanks again,
Cheers,
Paul.
bro.
And for those who are interested, Paul, I'm not sure if you're in the group yet, but if you're not, we'll get you in there into the Shopify Marketing Secrets on Facebook. So that's kind of where our ecom community is. We'll be posting this video up in there. Any questions that you have for Paul, you can ask him in there. But thanks again for sharing the insights into Johnny AI and how it can save us a lot of time on the phones, but also what's to come in terms of data and customer experience and all the rest. It sounds like a very exciting time in terms of automating some parts of the business that are weighing you down to free you up to spend your time on higher leverage activities.
Yeah. I think you just nailed it with that.
Perfect, guys. Check out Johnny.ai on the net, and we'll catch you guys all next week.
Thanks, guys.